Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to change a flat tire with just what comes with your Honda CRV. Mine's a 2017 model, so this is the same 2017 to 2022. The new ones are probably the same, the ones before that might be the same, I don't know. But so basically it's pretty easy. When I do tire rotations and I'm at home and I have the use of floor jacks and jack stands and breaker bars and all these different tools that make it easier to jack a car up and rotate tires. But if you're traveling, if you're on the side of the road, or you might be on vacation or just away from home and you have a flat, you're probably not going to have access to all those tools. So you're going to have to figure out how to do it with what you have. So that's what the purpose of this video is, using your jack that comes with the vehicle, using your breaker bar that comes with the vehicle. So that's what we're going to show you today. So in the back of my car, some of the things that I keep, and I go ahead and I keep them secured with these bungee cords, but I'm just going to kind of share with you some of the basic things that I keep in here. So right here I have a Milwaukee air compressor. I'll put links to all this stuff in the description. I always like to be able to put air in the tire. Sometimes that's all you need instead of changing a flat tire. If it's a slow leak, sometimes you can just put air in it and that's enough to get you to where you need to go to get the tire fixed. This is a NOCO Genius Boost. This is a jump starter where you do not need to use another vehicle, so you can do it by yourself. This I would recommend for everyone. You just don't know when your battery is going to have its last day. It's just going to all of a sudden not start. Well, this way I don't need help from anybody. I can do it myself and I can get where I'm going. This will jump my car several times without needing recharge. And it's very simple to use. I'll put a link in the description. This is just some tools, like a cheap, inexpensive tool set that I have for emergencies that I keep in there. I'm not sure where I bought this. If I bought it off of Amazon, I'll put a link in the description. It's just a very basic, it's got sockets, a hammer, different kind of wrenches. It's got some pliers, some vice grips, some screwdrivers, it's a lot of tools in a very small package and can be very useful for many things. And I keep that back here. These are made by WeatherTech. They have rubber grips on the bottom. They help keep things from sliding around back there. And then as you can see, I use these bungees. These cars are made with some nice tie-down hooks in the corner, right here and over there. They also have these nice hooks on the back of the seats. They also have these nice hooks here. So there's a lot of nice tie-down locations for small SUV like this. These are very practical. So anyway, so in this car, let's say we have a flat tire. So one of the things to know if you have locking lug nuts. So as you look at these lug nuts, these are the lug nuts that would come with the car, the smooth ones. But you see this one's different. It's got what's called a key. So I bought these security lug nuts where one on each wheel takes this special key. You just kind of rotate it on there until you feel it going in the groove like that. And then it takes the same socket as all of these will take. So if you have locking lug nuts, always know where they're at. This key I keep in my glove compartment always. And so that's how I keep track of it. So whichever tire needs to be changed, I'm gonna need that. So then I have these rubber mats in my car. I'm gonna take it out. I keep these tarps in there, so if I go to the Home Depot to buy mulch or something, I'm gonna put my back seat down. This covers this side of the back, this covers that side. I use these all the time for different things. They come in very handy to keep your carpet clean and not ripped. This is the back carpet. So you see how I keep it in the low position, so you've got a lip right here. But if I ever wanted it to be flat for hauling something, I can always move it up into this position, and now I got a flat floor. So I'm going to set it aside. Okay, I keep some things in here for emergency use, you know, the Bible, things like that that you can't live without. Got another set of small tools. I actually have a toe strap and some tow hooks in here that I keep in this rag so they don't make noise like that. So I'm going to take these out. There's some gloves, a rag. Got some gloves here. Have some emergency lights in here. This is a gas funnel that comes with the car because they have that capless fuel tank. So if you ever need to add gasoline, you can't just do it with a regular spout. You put this in first and then you add the fuel. So it's good to know where that's at. So now we move all that stuff out of the way that I had, and what we are left with is the jack that came with the vehicle. We're left with this wrench. This is some Gorilla Tape I had in there. We're left with the wrench that comes with the vehicle to take the tire off. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this little pouch. And so you'll see in there's these two pieces. They're separated by this cloth so that they don't clang around against each other and make noise while you're driving. So this is what I call the little candy cane piece. And then this is your main wrench that's made for those wheels. So we're gonna set these down. We're gonna need those. And then this jack over here. Notice the position that things are in before you take them out. So the jack has the small end in this little container here, this little bar. The fat end is over there. I'm trying to remember how this comes out. It looked like it was all the way collapsed before, but it wasn't. So when you collapse it all the way by going counterclockwise, it goes in easy. So now this makes sense now. Okay, so this is our jack. They call these a scissor jack. And so very basically you rotate this clockwise to raise it. See how easy it turns? And then to lower it counterclockwise. So we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so this spare tire is very easy to get out. Again, we want to look at how it's in there. So the deep part is here where we can store stuff in it, and the flat part's towards the bottom. So this just has a thumb tightener. Excuse me, just make sure when you tighten these that you don't tighten it too much where you have trouble loosening it. It just needs to be snug where that tire is not going to move and make noise. So you just move this by hand and you just keep turning until it comes out like that. We're just going to set this aside and it's as easy as that. So we're just going to lift this out. I'm going to go ahead and put gloves on. You don't obviously have to have gloves, but if you've got gloves, it's always worth using when you're doing tires so you don't get your hands all black. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and use gloves since we got them. We're going to grab this right here, grab the tire, lift up, that plastic piece will go right back on. So we're just going to set the tire down. Now what I'm going to do is, I don't see the air fill, it's on the other side. So I'm going to put it up like that. This says inflate to 60 PSI. That is a lot. It's twice what the regular car tires take. So before we put this back, we're going to make sure that we inflate it to 60. It's got enough air in there where it would work, but I about guarantee you it's been well over a year, I think, since I've checked that. So, and this is the piece that just came off. It'll snap back in. It did not break. Now that we have our spare tire out, and because we do have our air, let's go ahead and inflate it, because if I did have to use it, I would want it to the right pressure before I use it. So I'm going to go ahead and take this cap off. take out my air inflator. I'm gonna thread this on there. That stem is very close to the steel wheel. I kind of have to pull it out a little bit to get that to thread in place. Now I'm going to turn this on right here. It's going to tell me it's got 23 pounds of pressure. So even though it feels like a lot, it's nowhere near 60. So we're going to bump this up to 60 and turn it on. And it's not going to stop until it gets to 60. And it's going to take a while. It takes a while to fill these up. Okay. So we're going to hit this button and then just let it fill. Okay, so it takes a while. This is up to 60, stop by itself. So now we're just going to shut that off. Start to unscrew this. Put on my cap. Okay. Okay, so let's say we got our spare tire out. Now we're ready to go change our tire. So we take our jack and our two tools. Let's say it's our front tire that is back. So the first thing we're going to do while the car's still on the ground is we want to loosen these lug nuts. And I'm not going to do it because my tire's not flat. But you would take this and you would put in a position and you would push down here. Let's say you can't get it to budge. Put it down a spot where it's horizontal or just down from horizontal. And then you can try to stand in such a way that you could use your foot like that. If I do my tires myself, so I know they're not over torqued, so I'm confident I could do it with this. But if you take it to a tire shop and sometimes they over torque them by 30 foot-pounds, it's ridiculous. You might struggle to get these loose. Also, go in a start pattern. So wherever you start, just skip a lug nut, do the next one, skip a lug nut, do the next one, skip a lug nut, skip a lug nut. Remember, we have our key, our lug nut key for this special one. So all you're doing while it's on the ground is you're using the weight of the car to hold the wheel still, because if we jack it up first and then we try to loosen it, the tire's just going to spin and you're going to be frustrated. Having to put it back on the ground to get it unless you're unless you have like an impact gun, which you're probably not going to have on the side of the road. So definitely loosen all 5 lug nuts to where you can spin them, say 3 times with your fingers or with the wrench. Say 3 rotations or something, and then you're gonna jack the car up. So on this car, the jack points are very easy to find by each tire. So it's the same on both sides. So this is our front tire. So looking a few inches away under here, you're gonna see this reinforced metal. We're gonna want our jack to be right in the middle of that. If it was the back tire, it's the same situation. So a few inches inside of the back tire, you're gonna have these reinforced metal pieces, and we're gonna set our jack right in the middle. So that's your jack placement is very easy to find. So you're gonna want your jack positioned where this is facing out, because that's where your tool goes. Those reinforced spots are going to sit right in the middle of this, and these notches are going to cradle it. So you might as well just start by hand and get it close. It goes very easy by hand, these little scissor jacks. And don't put them in at an angle, and go straight in. So I'm going to get it close by hand. Might have went a little too far. Nope, I think it was perfect. Yep, still got an inch to go. So I'm gonna go by hand until, okay, so it's already touching. Now I got it snugged up. So now it's harder to turn, obviously. This is where you use the little candy cane. I'm gonna grip this. I'm gonna rotate it clockwise. These things are slow, but you kind of get used to it like that. You half turn, spin it, half turn, spin it, and you just keep going like that. And you jack it up till your tire is just a little bit off the ground. Once it's a little bit off the ground, you're gonna grab this tool. You've already got these loosened. You're gonna take all the lug nuts off. You're gonna set them where you're not gonna lose them. You're gonna take your tire off. You're gonna put your spare tire on. You're gonna put your lug nuts back on. Snug them all up with that. Don't try to over tighten. Just get them all the way on where all the threads are you don't have any threads that haven't been snugged up. Then you're gonna do the reverse over here, where you're gonna use your candy cane and go in reverse order. Half turn, rotate, counterclockwise. And before you know it, this is, the patient part of this job. You're gonna see the jack start to move. That means that it's not holding any weight anymore. You can get rid of your candy cane. You can go by hand and get it out of the car. You can finish it up. Don't pinch your fingers in the middle of that. But it goes pretty quick by hand. Once you get out of the car, you don't have to worry about using that candy cane anymore. Like I say, just don't pinch your fingers in there. So you want to tighten that, loosen that all the way. So we're done with this. We'll set it back over here. Done with these tools. Well, now that you got your tire back on the ground, you're gonna grab this tool and you're gonna snug all these up again. You're gonna snug them up pretty tight, not super tight, but tight. And so now your car is going to be ready to drive to get your tire fixed. So the tire that you removed, you're just going to throw back here, take it to a tire shop, have them fix the tire, let them put it back on for you. So now let's say you got your tire fixed. Now you're going to put your spare tire back. So we've got our tools here that we got to do something with. We got our spare tire. So we're going to take this. Remember, we had to flip it over because we want this deep end facing up. So we're going to put that in. Going to center it up with that wheel. We put this over here. This is we're gonna center it up with this plastic cap as we tighten it. We don't have to go super tight because we want to be able to loosen this, remember? We don't want it to be too tight. That's tight enough where it's not going to let it move. That it goes in easy. So that means that what it's using, this makes sense now. It looked like it was all the way collapsed before, but it wasn't. So when you collapse it all the way by going counterclockwise, it goes in easy. So now, this makes sense now. So anyway, let's get back to this. So you put this in here, and now you rotate this clockwise, and we're opening the jack. And it's gonna be that tension that holds it in there. So this makes total sense now. Okay, so now our jack is held in there. Okay, we'll force it in like that. Okay. So now I kind of force it in there till it doesn't move. This plastic piece that you saw fall off earlier, it just goes here. Kind of keeps things in this compartment from falling out. So our jack is back, our tire is back. Now we're gonna take our two tools that we have and this bag that came with it. And remember, there was a separation there for quietness. It's actually got several different compartments. So I'm going to put the big one in here. I'm going to put the candy cane in the next one. And it does have two other compartments for additional tools. That's nice. keep the noise down. So we're just gonna wrap this around like that. Gonna go ahead and kind of put it through both of these like that. Cinch it up nice so they can't jostle. And we're gonna go in between the two pieces of metal on the way back like that. Tighten it up like that. Just put it in here. All right, so that is done. I'm gonna show you a couple of optional items I would recommend that you purchase and keep with you. Let me grab those real quick. So again, what we've done is what we said we would do. We changed it with what came with the car. If you wanted to make it a little bit safer, you could buy these very small wheel chocks. What these are, you'll notice I have the bubble wrap because it keeps them from clanging when I'm driving. So these are wheel chocks, and they're meant when you jack the car up. You can raise that, this bar locks in right there. And you put this to stabilize the car from moving opposite whichever tire is flat. So we said that the driver front was flat. So when we jack the car up, it's going to be putting pressure back on this side to go backwards. So we would take this opposite the tire that's flat and we would put it behind this wheel so that when we raise the front tire, it stabilizes the car. Since you have two in a package, it would make sense to go ahead and put one in front of the front tire on the opposite side and then back of the back tire on the opposite side of where you're working, and that would stabilize the car from moving. So I would recommend that. I'll put a link in the description. These are very inexpensive and, as you can see, very compact. I would use a more permanent style that's rubber for working at home as a wheel chock, that are bigger, bulkier, better. But these are very compact and perfect to keep in a spare tire. The other thing I would recommend is, as you saw, that tool to get the lug nuts off was very short. You're not going to get a lot of torque with that. So if a tire shop is over torqued your bolts, you may struggle. This is made by Gorilla, and it's an adjustable bar for flat tires. It comes with a couple different sizes of sockets. I've got both socket sizes for my vehicles. This is the size for this vehicle. And so it's made to go in there like that. And then this extends out. This is about 6 inches longer than the one that comes with your vehicle. That may not sound like a lot, but it's a huge difference in torque when you're talking about loosening a lug nut. I would be confident that you would definitely be able to get them off with this. Whereas that other one, it kind of depends on your strength and everything. So anyway, these are like multi-sided. So even though there's 2 sockets, there's actually 4 sizes. You can put it on this way, use the smaller one, put it on this way, use the larger one. So I'm gonna put a link in the description. You can make sure that it fits your size. This is a 17 and 19 millimeter. This is a 13/16 and 7/8. I don't know if that's changed because this was several years ago, but I'm gonna put a link in the description. I think you'll find that these 4 sizes fit most vehicles, which is why they offer them in those sizes. So I'll put a link in the description to these, and it's something that's very compact, easy to keep with you. And so that would complete our tire change with what comes with the vehicle. Hope that's been helpful. Thank you for watching. Unless you have like a what is my tool called? That's not the drill, but it's the impact. Okay. So you're gonna end up have like an impact gun, which you're probably not gonna have on the side of the road.